Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be ranking every A24 movie that I have ever seen from worst to best on a tier list. I've got my Marty Supreme ping pong balls right here beside me, right up here, and I am ready to talk about all things A24. But before we do, please be sure to drop a like and also subscribe if you guys love talking about movies, shows, and everything in between, especially because I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers, and make sure to hype this video up. It will mean a lot to me. But listen, before we actually get into the tier list, I think I should just take a second here just to talk about A24 as a whole. For those of you that don't know, if for some reason you're living under a rock, A24 is essentially a film distributor. You know, they're an entertainment company that finances and distributes films. They are very popular at this point, like I said, even though I feel like some people think that they're super niche or something. Some people think that they're like a studio. Some people think that they're a director. A24, I feel like there's so many memes, but either way, they're this company that kind of has a lot of culture behind them, especially when it comes to just film bros or whatever you want to say, people that really enjoy cinema, especially Gen Z. One thing that I think I need to mention is the fact that I feel like A24 does get a lot of unnecessary flack, not necessarily because of anything that they do, because for the most part, A24 has an immaculate track record. I'm not saying that every single movie they make is great, but just in terms of what they're doing and their direction and their vision, they are always supporting original cinema because everything they make is basically original outside of maybe the X trilogy with Mia Goth and stuff. But even those films, I haven't seen them, but they all seem to be very different from one another. So they're always supporting individual films. They're taking a lot of original films. They're always going out of their way to support more unknown directors and actors and just really take a shot on them. And they're one of the only I don't want to say studios again, but people that are financing films, whatever you want to say, that are making lower budget films. It feels like everything nowadays is $200 million, but they're just going out of their way again, just to support original cinema, indie cinema, and take chances. And a lot of these chances, yeah, sure, maybe a good amount of them aren't really the hits that they want them to be, but then you get those few couple of hits, whether it's Everything Everywhere All at Once, whether it's Marty Supreme or this or that, and it just goes wild. And people love this stuff. And again, people really love A24. But going back to what I was saying, because I feel like I just went on a rant there, I think A24 gets a lot of flack, more so because of the way that people talk about it in a very cringe way. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm superior. I will put my chest out there and just say, I love A24. And that's kind of the equivalent of saying, I love pizza or I love cheeseburgers. It's a very tame, normal take, but some people might see it as, again, cringe, because there's a lot of people that try to act like they know so much about film just because they know A24 and they watch A24 movies, even though they are very popular, at least a good amount of them. But again, I'm just kind of going on a spiel here and just talking about where an A24 kind of ranks in the current zeitgeist, what their relevance is to the current generation, which I feel like always is the most important thing, because you've always got to pass the torch in a way, and A24 has had such a major impact on the film industry in the past 15 years. Honestly, I think that they're arguably the most important pillar to the film industry right now in terms of, again, independent and original cinema, because if A24 did not exist, we'd be in trouble. I know there's other distributors, there's Neon and all these other places, but in all seriousness, it would just be Disney, Warner Bros, Netflix, you guys get the gist. It's just the point that A24 is such an apex predator with their own niche that a lot of people enjoy and that a lot of people flock to, including myself. And again, I feel like one of the biggest drives, or one of the biggest, I guess you could say, reasons that someone would be interested in A24 is because they literally have a film for everyone. I know that their genre, you could say, that they really got popular off of originally was horror, when they had Hereditary and Midsommar, and people were oh my god, A24 is a horror studio, or people didn't even know what A24 was practically. But then of course over time they really began to expand what they were making. They just made a weird Glenn Powell hitman movie where he goes to kill all his family. Then they just made a Zendaya Robert Pattinson drama movie called The Drama, ironically enough. But it's just the point that it feels like they're just doing all these really weird, wacky things, but they take chances while still having a pretty unique identity. You can kind of tell that an A24 movie is an A24 movie, usually because of the cinematography. I feel like that's always the first give, but they always feel so tapped into the modern culture, not in a cringe way, every movie they make is referencing TikTok or something like that. By the way, I did not expect this rant to be this long, but I just want to talk about them for a minute because I don't get the chance to. But it's just in a way where it feels like they know what younger people want, and they know how to properly find the right talent that are making the correct risks. They're not making movies that are just like stupidly crazy. Yeah, sure, every once in a while, but they're putting out a lot of movies nowadays, and they've been growing at an exponential rate. But it feels like they take risks that are justified and that tend to work out, and that tend to have a lot of fire behind them and a lot of passion, and they really support directors and, again, just anybody behind the camera and the actors without like interfering too much. Like Marvel Studios would literally directly interfere with like a director's vision or something like that. I'm sure they have some input. Maybe they have some studio notes or whatever, or, the financiers, want some input or whatever. Maybe they want to see a screening. But honestly, I just wanted to rant really quick because I feel like A24, even though they really do get a lot of respect, I think they deserve even more. Like, call me a glazer, whatever you want to say, but I really feel like people still don't really appreciate what they truly do for the film industry. Even like their merch, which is always really cool, their awesome marketing, like these are things that are also, of course, backed by A24. Like, you got to keep that in mind. They're controlling this, so I just wanted to give a big shout out to them. But it's time to take a look at the tier list. Now, guys, I know what you're going to be looking at here. I've got 5 different tiers, all named after A24. We've got S24, A24, B24, C24, and D24. Basically just S to D tier. And we're going to be talking about 23 different movies here today. Now, listen, A24 has put out 195 projects between things that they've financed themselves or things that they've distributed. But with that being said, even though that's only 11% of what they've ever made, I will say, when you remove short films and documentaries and TV shows, there's only 176 films that they've put out, feature-length films, which jumps to 13%. So I've seen 13% of A24 films. Let's give me a round of applause. In all seriousness, some of them are just so niche, though, and a lot of them I really don't have a lot of interest in, but there's definitely some massive holes that I'm missing out on. But either way, it's time to talk about the movies that I have seen, so let's just get into this tier list. We're going to be kicking things off with a more recent A24 film from 2024, ironically enough, which is going to be Civil War. Civil War was, I believe, it had the highest budget of any A24 movie ever, at least at the time. I don't know if Marty Supreme passed that. I might be wrong, but this is going to be going in B tier. I think it's a solid B tier film, definitely higher B tier. I like the fact that it went into what a civil war would look like in the United States, but it actually kind of stayed away from politics. And there's nothing wrong with going into politics, of course, but it was trying to do something else with war and going into journalism, war journalism, and how brutal it can really get, and what the morals are like behind like photographers and writers that are basically just going into these war zones. And then, of course, the interesting twist just being what would happen if this actually happened in the United States. I feel like this is a movie that just gets crazier the longer it goes on. You've got Kaylee Spaney, and then you've also got Kirsten Dunst here. It's just a really good cast overall, even though it isn't like, there isn't like a ton of people in here. And of course, Jesse Plemons just going crazy. That little husband-wife duo there between Ms. Dunst and then Mr. Plemons there. But this is a really solid movie. Really enjoyed it. I believe this is Alex Garland as well, a very talented guy. We're going to be talking about him more on this list too. But I think it's a very solid outing from them. Not like their top tier stuff, but still really awesome. Next up is going to be Moonlight, one of the most celebrated A24 films for a reason. It won Best Picture. It beat out my favorite movie of all time, La La Land. With that being said, though, game respects game at the end of the day. This is a 5-star film for me. I think Moonlight, I wasn't really sure like what to expect going into it. I only knew that like it took place over the course of someone's life, sort of, and it sort of talked about just like, it was like a coming-of-age story, a bullying story, whatever. But when I watched this, it really did hit me in the feelings just about like trying to find your place in the world. Now, I know that it does go into some things that like I personally can't really relate to, like sexuality and like all these other things, but it's just one of these things where I just found it to be honestly such a beautiful film. Like honestly, it was just straight up a gorgeous movie. Visually, it's one of their best films, and that's saying a lot because even the worst A24 films still look really good. So I think that the color palette's unbelievable. Barry Jenkins, I feel like, really stamped himself as a great director with this, even though I feel like he hasn't really done much since except the Mufasa movie for some reason, but get that bag, King. But in all seriousness, this is a phenomenal film, and we're going to keep that rolling. I want to say that this is my favorite A24 film. It's going to be Uncut Gems. I know it's a pretty basic movie. I know that's a very simple one, but Uncut Gems is probably a top 10 favorite movie for me ever. ever. Easily in the back half, probably like 8, 9, 10. But in all seriousness, Uncut Gems is like this one-of-one movie for me because Adam Sandler playing like a more serious role, you really don't get to see that much. I know he did it in Punch Drunk Love, but the tension in this movie is so palpable and so disgusting, quite honestly. And the way that it just kind of captured like this time and a place, like early 2010s New York. It has sports betting. Honestly, like I just do enjoy gambling generally, or casually, I should say. So I was like very interested in that plot line, and I live near New York, so it was even more interesting for that reason. But having Kevin Garnett in here is just so cool, and he's a great actor in here. There's so many great things in here. The Weeknd stuff, Julia Fox, and it's not like just because I'm a fan of The Weeknd. It makes you really believe and buy into the story because it feels so real. And the ending is perfect. It's so shocking. It's one of these films that you got to show somebody and see their reaction because it goes for it. And I think it absolutely paid off. And it's one of these things where like you're rooting for the main character, but you're also like, oh my God, you're such an idiot. The auction scene is so painfully awkward. And yeah, I think that this is definitely the best A24 movie in my opinion, but more so just because, or I don't know, I want to say the best, whatever, but it's just my personal favorite. Next up's going to be their second most recent outing because the drama was literally just came out like last week, but How to Make a Killing. Honestly, I feel like not too many people saw this. Glenn Powell's in it. This is a movie that I'm going to put somewhere between B and C. I think that at the end of the day, though, I do respect this movie, and I don't dislike this movie, so I think that I'm going to end up putting it in B. I actually really enjoyed it. Now, you know what? I'm going to put it in like high C. I think that this movie didn't have like the highest of ambitions. This movie wasn't really trying to be like a 5-star film, but it's kind of like this, it's the type of movie that I almost miss in the sense that we don't really get these just like fun time at the movie films that aren't trying to be too ambitious, but that still have a unique premise and have an interesting star in them. Like we don't really get a lot of those. It feels like a lot of movies nowadays are just trying to go big or go home, whether it's like superhero films or this or that. And I love superhero films, but I'm just saying. So I really appreciated this movie. I really liked the side characters. They have like Topher Grace and like Gabe from The Office. I don't know his name, but really great side characters. Margaret Qualley's in here as well, and her character is so hateable, and I've got to say, I really appreciated the themes of this movie, and it also takes place in New Jersey. New Jersey, salute, shout out to New Jersey cinema, baby. So yeah, this is going to be going in like the high C, but again, just to be clear, like, this is just like a fine category, because everything here and above I pretty much enjoy. D are like the only films that I really don't like, and that's where we're going to be putting Y2K, ironically enough. I really like borderline hate this movie. I don't hate Rachel Zegler, just to be clear. I'm not one of those annoying people. I just think this movie really sucks, and I love Kyle Mooney, but this is a film that I feel like is desperately trying to be a cult classic, but it's just bad, like straight up. Like I just did not enjoy this movie whatsoever, and I enjoyed the premise. I thought it had like a cool premise, but it's one of these movies where like after the first 10 minutes, I remember them killing off the guy that plays Argyle on Stranger Things, who was like the best character in the movie, and then you just have to watch the next like 80 minutes. And I was like, okay, this isn't really all that good. It isn't really all that interesting. Chad from Scream is actually also in here, so that's pretty funny, but this movie really just did nothing for me. Next is going to be Love Lies Bleeding. This is a movie that I was very mixed on when I watched it because of the ending, but it has only grown on me the longer that I've thought about it. It's going in the back of B. First of all, you've got Katie O'Brien and Kristen Stewart, yes, in this film with the two main leads. Ed Harris is also in here as well, and this is almost similar to something like The Smashing Machine, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit, where you've got like bodybuilding and fighting and all this this body transformation stuff that ends up kind of just going wrong, if you will. And I think it's like this really unique, again, kind of like Uncut Gems, time and a place scenario where it's like, I believe this takes place in like the 2000s or the 90s. Maybe I'm making that up, but either way, it's just like this lesbian romance, if you will, that just like in the middle of the desert, things get a bit hectic, and I really enjoyed it, honestly, especially like digging up secrets from the past. I thought it was just absolutely great. Next, that's going to be The Iron Claw. This is going to be going in A, bordering on S tier. Absolutely phenomenal movie. I think the reason I'm not putting this in S is because, first of all, I don't give it 5 stars. I give it 4.5. And second of all, I'm not going to lie, like this just isn't a movie that I ever really think about. But now that I am thinking about it, I'm like, damn, that was an awesome film. First of all, you've got a power trio of Zac Efron, Harris Dickinson, and then also Jeremy Allen White. God, that's just a lot of words there. But They're all so great with just going over like the Von Erichs, I want to say is their name. And this is a tragic tale. I mean, truly. It's funny because this is also kind of reminds me of Love Lies Bleeding. A lot of these like bodybuilder fighting movies, things going wrong. And yeah, I just thought it was really great. The cinematography is incredible. And the acting is really off the charts. Zac Efron was especially phenomenal. He should have got a Best Actor nom. Next is going to be Under the Silver Lake. This is a movie that maybe interests me the most out of any film on this list. I'm going to be putting this in A, and I'm actually going to be putting this over The Iron Claw. This is a film that conceptually and on paper is perfect in terms of what I want from movies. I love movies that take place in LA. I love movies that are about making movies because this is like kind of does have to do with that. But more importantly, I love conspiracy corruption stories where there's mystery and there's somebody pulling the strings. And I love Andrew Garfield. All of this blended together with also like these insane metaphors and these weird things going on could not possibly be more up my alley. I watched this movie 2 times. I loved it the first time I watched it. I watched it a couple months ago, and I actually liked it less, but I think I was just in a bad mood. And the more that I think about it right now, the more I'm like, what an insane movie. All the owl lady stuff is like 10 out of 10. Like, I just love weird things like that, where it's a movie that's not trying to be too weird, like it's still grounded, but there's some things that just aren't really explained that just fit in so well with the story and the themes and the plot to where you're like, you know what? This is just cool, so I'll just let it slide. And yeah, I just think it's awesome. Next up is going to be The Materialists. This is going to be going in D, the top of D. I think this movie has a really bad message, quite honestly. I did not find any of these characters likable, and I understand there's a lot of movies like that, but I'm just not really a big fan of Dakota Johnson, and I'll always give her like a shot. Whenever she has a movie coming out, I'll be there day one to watch it and judge her fairly, if you will, but didn't really enjoy this movie, I'm going to be honest. I didn't like any of the performances. I thought the plot was really not good. There's this weird subplot in the third act that involves sexual assault that comes out of nowhere. Like, there's nothing wrong with talking about that subject matter, but it's just like this weird thing that randomly happens, and I'm just like, what? Yeah, not a film that I like. I think that it's charismatic. You've got Chris Evans, you've got Pedro Pascal, and of course, again, Dakota Johnson, but I just don't think it's really all that great. Next is going to be Zone of Interest. This movie is going to be going in B24. Really like this movie. It's going to be going, I think, between these two, just because I think Civil War is a bit more watchable, quite honestly. I might never watch Zone of Interest again, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't left a mark on me. Again, another movie that I don't really think about every single day, kind of like Iron Claw, but it's the type of movie where I have never seen a film like it before, so automatically I'm going to give you some credit there, but it goes over the Holocaust in a completely different way than we've ever seen. There isn't really much of a plot. It's more of just like an atmospheric type of film that uses sound on an excellent level, in a haunting level. And all I can remember from this movie is this scene at the end where the main guy that we're watching, who's, we'll just say, a member of the German party, is just kind of gagging because his body is almost fighting against what his mind is trying to do. And this makes sense if you actually watch the movie. You'll know what I'm talking about, but I don't feel like explaining it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Next up's going to be Good Time. This is going to be a hot take. I'm putting Good Time at the top of C. Now, I want to say one thing. I haven't seen this movie in years. I watched this movie 5 years ago, maybe, and I remember liking it, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. And it's funny because I love Robert Pattinson, and I'm a big fan of the Safdie brothers. I mean, I have Uncut Gems right up here. With that being said, I kind of just need to rewatch this movie. I remember thinking it was pretty good, and that's about it. And it's the type of movie that's kind of up my alley, where it's like, oh yeah, we got like a crime thriller. It's like a chase sort of thing. Again, Robert Pattinson being a bit weird. He's playing a New Yorker, basically. That's usually my type of film, but I just wasn't really feeling it this time around. Or at least the first time that I watched it. Next up's going to be Highest to Lowest. Yes, I could have used the poster of the movie, but I absolutely love this picture of Denzel. This is a film that I don't actually think is that good. I feel like on paper, this is not a very good movie. But something about Spike Lee's corny directing in this movie, Denzel's kind of like awkward performance purposefully, and this really interesting kind of like larger than life and almost like fake, or if you will, I don't know how to describe it, New York tale. I really liked this movie. It's going to be going in B. I'm going to put it right here behind Zone of Interest. I don't think it's actually as good as this movie, but it really piqued my interest. I really liked A$AP Rocky in this movie, not just because I used to be like a fan of him. I mean, it's just I don't really listen to rap as much anymore, but I think he's really good in this, and like the message that it has, it's kind of like an A24 old head movie, if you will. But with that being said, I really enjoyed it because I feel like it just has so much charm to it. And it's like, again, like a weird type of movie you usually don't see. That's just what A24 does. Next is going to be The Smashing Machine. I feel like I'm one of the only people on Earth that actually liked this movie practically, like significantly liked. It's not going to be going in A. I mean, I'm probably going to put it in B, but I think I'd put it like right here, somewhere like right around there. I thought this was a really great movie. I know everybody's talking about like The Rock's performance, so yeah, this is the best performance of his career, but is it actually really that good? Yes, I think it is that good. And from there, I think it's one of these movies where I think that the plot's actually pretty interesting. I don't know if I love the way that it ends, but the way that he has like this friend and then this girlfriend that's kind of like tearing him down, played by Emily Blunt. I don't love Emily Blunt in this, but I think also Benny Safdie's directing is really interesting in this film. And it's not like the most interesting, exciting movie though, with that being said, but I still think it was really like just something that you don't see every single day. So I really enjoyed it. Next up is going to be the big boy as of recently, Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme is going to be going at the top of B. Really, really, really enjoyed Marty Supreme. I know I'm putting a lot of stuff. Actually, no. This is going to be going in the back of A. I think I'm dragging it here a little bit. It's going to be going right here in the back. I really liked Marty Supreme. One thing I will say, I feel like I've been saying this a lot this video. I actually liked Marty Supreme less on my second watch. But I don't know, maybe I was just in a bad mood, whatever. But I think it's more so just because I rated it too highly on my first watch. I really loved Marty Supreme. I loved Timothée Chalamet. I love the Safdie brothers directing. This movie, again, time and a place, doing a thing, playing ping pong. Really enjoyed it. I do think that the plot does jump around a bit too much to where it's a bit too confused. But with that being said, I'm a big fan of Kevin O'Leary in here. I think that he's like super awesome. It's kind of like this antagonistic force. I like how weird it gets, but also it doesn't get like too weird. It's more so just there's these crazy things happening and crazy events because of like kind of the stressful situations that he's put in. You've got like Tyler, the creator, Gwyneth Paltrow, very inspired casting, and it looks beautiful. It's stylistically just unique, and it's just going for something. Next up's going to be The Lighthouse. See, this is a movie that just isn't for me. I just want to make something clear. I know that this is like one of the best A24 movies. I understand. I am just personally a narrative-driven person. I like narratives, and I think that Zone of Interest, I just enjoyed more. I just didn't really like this movie when I watched it like 6 years ago, okay? So give me a break. I haven't watched it since, and I love Robert Pattinson, so I know that it looks like I'm rating him low here, and I love Willem Dafoe, but I'm not really a big Robert Eggers guy. Let me just say that. Personally, not really for me. I honestly would just rather watch something like How to Make a Killing over The Lighthouse, personally, but it's not a bad movie. It's just not really for me. Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's one of these movies where it comes out of nowhere, changes the game, sweeps the Oscars, and then naturally everyone flips on it and starts to hate it. I still believe that this is one of the greatest movies of the century. Like, I'm being so serious when I say that. Is it top 10? I don't know, but I think it's top 20 easily. Like, truly an all-time film. It's one of my favorite films of this decade easily. The way that it's able to be so out of this world weird and play with the idea of multiverse in a way that was actually kind of funny because it was during this time where the multiverse concept was oversaturated because of Marvel. But it's one of these things where it worked so well because of the fact that it utilized the multiverse and having this crazy, fun, exciting, creative, beyond belief and breaking barrier story, while also still having this incredible emotional core, unbelievable emotional core about generational trauma and the way that parents treat their children and how that gets passed along, and especially the relationship between a mother and her daughter, and even just the dynamic like with the father as well, where he plays along with that, and how you just watch your life play by and how you know what, maybe you should be happy with the life you have rather than just chasing after one that's maybe unrealistic. It's beautiful. It's one of the only movies that really gets me to tear up. I'm just not like a big tear up person during movies, but I love it. I will never switch up on this movie. I think it's perfect. I honestly think it's a perfect movie. Next up is going to be The Whale. C. Back of C. Honestly, I would rather just watch The Lighthouse because it's more interesting and the acting's way better. It's trying to do something. The Whale's a movie that I think I liked a bit better when I first watched it, but like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I hate to say this, but they kind of just made this movie just to get Brendan Fraser an Oscar, and I love Brendan Fraser, man. He's an awesome guy, and Sadie Sink's in here too, but not really a fan of this movie. I think it's just kind of stupid. I'm just going to be honest. Like, from a plot level and a concept level, it's just kind of dumb. Next up is going to be The Florida Project. This is the movie that put me on to Sean Baker and that like got me excited for Nora, essentially. I think that this film is absolutely S tier. I'm going to put it right above Moonlight, I want to say. I'm going to put it behind Moonlight. Just to be clear, like, when I say S tier, I really do mean S tier. Not even just for A24, I mean in general. This is a 5-star movie. These are the 4 5-star movies that I give A24, or at least, so far. And I think that The Florida Project is, again, a very unique, almost like, I don't want to say like found footage, but it just feels like day in the life, slice of life type of film where it's almost like the peasants outside the castle, which is like the best way that I've seen it described, where you've got Disney World in Orlando, but it's actually a very like poverty-stricken area. So you don't realize how much people are suffering and what it's like out there, especially because it's a very industrialized area, and it's this, like, when you drive near Disney, I haven't been in years. I mean, I have been there, but it is like kind of run down in some areas, and you start to kind of realize like that tourism kind of just like runs this city, and it has this weird dynamic with the people that live there. So you're watching people struggle. Willem Dafoe's in here. He's great. And a lot of the people in this movie, I'm pretty sure, like, it's like their first time acting. Like, it's just an unbelievably beautiful story. I love the ending as well. I know that a lot of people hate it, that it was filmed on an iPhone camera. I love it. I love the symbolism behind it. And I love the scene where they're watching the fireworks. Oh my God. Like, just so unbelievable. And the lead girl in here, not the little girl, but the older one, I believe, like, this is kind of like the only film she's ever acted in, unless I'm wrong. She was great. Next up's going to be Lady Bird. Another movie I haven't seen in like 5 years. It's going to be going in B towards the back. This is a movie where I think I just need to rewatch it. I don't mean to just like use that as like some excuse like every single time where I'm like, oh, I don't really like it. But I gave this movie 4 stars on my first watch, but I feel like it has regressed. And I know that it's about like, a mother's relationship with her daughter, kind of something similar to like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and kind of like rebelling. But I don't know if it really hit for me. I don't know if I really liked it that much. I love Timothée Chalamet, so that's naturally going to bring it up. But I think that now I'm just a couple years older. I just need to rewatch it because I almost like forgot what the plot is. I know like she wants to go to college. I remember really not liking the way this movie ends though for some reason. So yeah, that movie's going to be going there. Next is going to be Mississippi Grind. This movie is going to be going right above The Whale because The Whale is a movie that I feel like is more so like ill-intentioned, whereas Mississippi Grind, I just think straight up isn't really that good. I think that Ben Mendelsohn and Ryan Reynolds actually in a serious role for once. Obviously, Ben Mendelsohn's been serious, but Ryan Reynolds actually playing like a normal guy is actually pretty good, especially that this is like pre-Deadpool, so he's not like as shticky, if you will. He's not like quipping. He does have the quipping nature in this movie, but it's not so overbearing. It's a movie that really dives into like gambling and like, especially in the South, and how people get addicted and like chasing that next high of the win. But I don't really know if the plot is as exciting as it should be, considering that gambling is naturally like an exciting concept, even in scenarios where it does like ruin somebody's life. I know that sounds wrong, but I feel like this movie's almost still a bit too boring. And the ending, though, it's a bit charming. I don't want to act like this is really a bad movie, but I think it's like average at best. It's probably below average, realistically. Next, that's going to be Ex Machina. This movie is going to be going in B. I'm going to put it right. I'm going to put it, I want to say right here. I'm going to put it actually, I'm going to put it right here, right below Civil War. I really like Ex Machina. Another Alex Garland project, which actually, these are 2 Alex Garland projects right here. I think that Oscar Isaac is just such an underrated actor. Let me just start by saying that. And then you've got Donald Gleason in here, who's also just great. Kind of this weird movie where it's like a bit sci-fi. It's kind of like A24 really starting to kind of like find their footing, because this movie's from 2014, I want to say. And I love the dancing scene. I love like what it's kind of diving into about like control and power and things like that. And the ending's like kind of like weird and cool. It looks beautiful. It's pretty simple, but also, again, like not trying to go too over the top. And yeah, I just really enjoy it. Next up's going to be X. This is a hot take. This is a D tier movie for me. I'm going to put this at the top of D tier. I think this is such a simple slasher that just doesn't work for me at all. Like, I really disliked all the characters, and maybe you could say that's like the point, but I don't like the grandma stuff. I just don't like the direction that this movie takes. And it's just not really for me. I'm going to be completely honest, and I don't really have anything else to say. I'm not like the biggest Jenna Ortega fan, I guess, or Mia Goth fan. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have that much to say, and I've never seen Pearl or Maxine because I didn't like this movie. So why would I like the next two? Especially because I feel like I've heard like Maxine's worse and all that. And the drama, A24's most recent outing. Honestly, we're ending off on a good note here. This is going to be going in A. Now, where's it going to be going? This is pretty neck and neck with Marty Supreme for me, but I think I'm going to be putting it right there. I really got a kick out of the drama. Finally, I'm rating a Robert Pattinson A24 movie highly. This movie has just two generational actors, essentially. Two of the greatest actors of this generation. Yes, I think Zendaya is that great, especially on the actress side of things. And Robert Pattinson naturally is like arguably the most talented actor of this generation. Like, you know, this era, not like, you know, older people like Leo and Christian Bale. I think it's one of these things where the plot has this unique twist that it doesn't lean on too heavily, and it doesn't try to like stuff like 15 different thematic elements in here. It maintains its focus. It has the perfect runtime. I feel like that's something that a lot of movies kind of struggle to fight for, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, but it also doesn't leave you feeling like things could have been fleshed out more. And it kind of gives it the script allows for a lot of space for these actors to just be weird and have fun and play around with their acting, because there's some just really great acting in here, but it doesn't feel like too forced. The editing is really great, and I feel like it's clearly stylized, but it's also stylized in a simple way. The music's awesome because of Mr. Pemberton, who just did Project Hail Mary, did this. And I just think it's an A-tier movie. Honestly, some of these I could probably change around a little bit, but yeah, that's going to be my final A24 list. Let me know what you guys would rank, everything down below. But that's going to just about do it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.